Yeah, man, he was one of the biggest impact players in the 1990s. David Justice joins us on the spread. Dave, good to see you.
Hey, bro, it's fun looking at those highlights, brother. It's been a long time.
Hey, man, we remember how good you were. And here's something that I don't remember about you. Just watching that highlight rip, your front foot was quiet sometimes. Your front foot was up in the air sometimes with a big stride. Yeah. How many times did you change your approach season to season?
Well, actually, it depends on the count. When I had 2 strikes, it would be more calm because really I'm just trying to put the ball on the bat. But, man, when it's 2 balls and no strikes and I know they got to throw me a fastball, that's a lot of times you'll see the leg kick. You see, but, I always messed around with my stance year to year. And also based off pitchers, too. Like if it was a sinker baller where I knew that I would have to concentrate on hitting the ball up the middle the other way, that would change my approach as well. Or if I was facing a guy who liked to pitch me inside, that would change. So I always had little tweaks in my batting stance. But if ever you saw that leg kick high, a lot of times it's 0-0, 1-0, 2-0, 3-1, like counts when I knew that they had to come to me, and I'm trying to juice them.
Yeah, let it eat counts. I like that. Hey,
yeah.
One of the things that distinguished your great career is, maybe with the exception of the early years in Atlanta, you played with some great teams, and you had great teammates around you. Who were some of the biggest influences on you among teammates?
Okay, well, first coming into the league, I think the player who kind of showed me how to be a big league player, I would give a lot of credit to Terry Pendleton. Willie Stargell in our minor leagues, Clarence Jones. These guys taught you how to be a big leaguer. Then once I became a veteran, and let's say I moved on to Cleveland, Cleveland had some there. I felt like more of a leader. Like I felt like I had more of a voice in the clubhouse. So playing with guys like Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez, I still tell everyone that the best right-handed hitter I've ever played with is Manny Ramirez. I mean, to see him play on a day-to-day basis, there's not too many guys, one with a prettier swing, one who just had thunder. I mean, his outs were thunderous. And then once you go to the Yankees, people ask me all the time, man, how was it playing with the Yankees? I'm like, brother, you cannot win on a bigger platform than in New York. You can't. Playing with an organization with that history under George Steinbrenner. And now you got a young Jeter, and you got Posada, and you got Tino, and you got Paulie, and you got Bernie, and then you got a pitching staff with Roger and Pettit, and then you got Mariano laying in the cut in the 8th, 9th inning. I mean, that team was stacked. So, I mean, you're right. In the 90s, I mean, you think about a lot of the biggest games, I was probably playing in them. But my teams, the guys that I played with, I didn't even mention the Braves, which is like my family. You're talking about a young Chipper and Fred McGriff, Crime Dog, who I think is a Hall of Famer. That is just an injustice that Fred's not in the Hall of Fame. But a young Chipper, Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, Steve Avery don't get enough credit. We had Kent Mercker coming in the 5th slot. So, man, I had a blessed career. I was blessed to be drafted by the Braves and come up with the Braves and win a World Series with the Braves. But to move on to Cleveland and then to move on to the Yankees and then to finish my career with Oakland with a young Tejada and Eric Chavez. And, then we had Mulder, Zito Hudson, which I thought would be the future big 3 for Oakland. I mean, it was just a blessed career, man. You
were no shrinking violet yourself. I mean, you talk about the great players you played with. They would mention you among the first names. And you talk about your days in New York. Big stage did nothing to harm you. I remember the home run in 2000 in the LCS. You ended up getting a ring with this club, your 2nd World Series ring. I mean, it's electrifying just to watch that stuff, even though it was 22 years ago. What do you ever break out your rings, David? Do you ever break them out and show them to the kids or show them to friends, or are they packed on ice someplace?
What? Break them out? I wear my rings every day. What you talking about? Hey, man, I worked hard for those rings. You think I'm going to put them somewhere and not display them?
I love it.
If you see me in the streets, look at my finger. It's either going to be the Braves ring or it's going to be the Yankee ring. I'm wearing mine every day.
I love it. Hey, let's talk about the Braves a little bit. You mentioned that's like your family to you. And I'm just curious, when you think about Freddie Freeman and the emotions that he's gone through the past few days, what was it like for you after leaving Atlanta and then coming back to play the Braves?
Well, I tell you, I came back to play the Braves the following spring training, believe it or not. We were on our way north for opening day, and we stopped in Atlanta for an exhibition game. I was with Cleveland. And similar to Freddie, I went deep in my game against the Braves. I think it was off of Millwood, Kevin Millwood. But, I know Freddie probably felt a lot like how I felt, man. I mean, like, I loved the Braves. Like, that was the only team that I ever wanted to play for. And Freddie meant so much to that team. He meant so much in the clubhouse, to the city. He's a great guy, a great player. When you think of a guy to represent an organization and you got to check all the boxes, Freddie Freeman checks all the boxes. That's why I was shocked to see the Braves let him go, that they could not come to a financial agreement. But, the Dodgers are going to love him. Freddie's a great guy, great player, great in the clubhouse. I got nothing but positive things to say about Freddie, but I know when Freddie looks at the Braves, looks at that other dugout, you got to remember, Freddie was a big leader of that team. These are still his guys. These are still his young guys that looked up to Freddie, that got a lot of their leadership and a lot of their direction from. And they're on the other team, so I know it had to be emotional for Freddie. He'll grow to love the Dodgers. Dave Roberts is a great manager, great guy. They got a great clubhouse, a bunch of good guys. He's going to fit in really well over there. But, man, it is hard to see him not wearing a Braves uniform.
Yeah,
I know for the Braves fans, I know it.
Yeah, Braves fans agree with you for sure, and it was hard watching him homer the other day. You've been in Southern California for many years. Do you ever get out to the ballpark in San Diego or Anaheim or L.A.? What's your summer like?
Hey, I go watch the Padres, especially when the Braves come to town. It seems like all the Braves fans in this area know that David Justice is going to be at the baseball game when the Braves play the Padres, because I sign a lot of autographs when I go to those games. But, it's great.
Look for the big, good-looking kid wearing 2 World Series rings. You can't miss him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in full uniform. I just don't have the spikes on.
Hey, David, it's great having you on the program, man. Great to visit with you. Glad to hear that you're still so attached to the game, and we hope to do this again with you down the road.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I hope I see you down the road too, man. Keep up the good work.